Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're back, man. Episode 190, a new milestone.
Yes, sir.
Only 10 away from 200 episodes.
Yes, sir.
We're going to start this shit off spicy, man. Very unfortunate event that happened recently at a Travis Scott concert. And we all know Travis Scott for his super ab libs that, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
It's lit. What's the other one? Straight up.
Yeah, straight up. Straight up, yeah.
Yo, you know what's so hilarious about that, though? Is Travis Scott has used these same ad-libs for many, many years, and I'm still not tired of them.
Yeah.
I'll be listening to a song, I'm like, yo, where's the straight up at?
Yeah, if they don't got it in there, it's like, it feels like something is missing.
Where's the yeah? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, man, ain't none of that, no ad-libs here? Come on, Travis. All right. The unfortunate circumstances that have happened at his last concert, there is at least 8 dead. But I'll read this article about someone who went to a concert in 2017 and is now paralyzed. Man paralyzed at 2017 Travis Scott concert says he is devastated for the Astroworld Festival ongoers, or victims, excuse me. He stated that a man who claims he was paralyzed following a 2017 Travis Scott concert said he was devastated for victims of the Astroworld Festival, according to the statement his lawyer shared with Rolling Stone. At least 8 people died and 300 were injured in a mass casualty, according to officials, after a crowd surged during Scott's performance at his annual Astroworld Festival on Friday. Houston Fire Chief Samuel Pena told reporters at a news conference that a crowd was around 50,000 people. 4 years earlier, Kyle Green, 27 years old, attended Scott's April 2017 concert at Terminal 5 in New York City. He was reportedly pushed off a third-floor balcony during a performance. Rolling Stone reported that Green said he was forced over the third-story edge amid a severely crowded event. According to the suit filed 6 months after the alleged incident, Green stated that he suffered several broken bones, including his vertebrae, before being taken off the floor by staff without a cervical collar, backboard, and other safety precautions, the outlet reports. So, I mean, dude, it's a pretty fucked up situation. My thoughts and prayers go out to all the victims of that situation. But here's the thing, man. I think that what happens at these events is reflected by the energy of the artist. So I feel like Travis Scott is a polar opposite to like a Keith Sweat. If you go to a Keith Sweat concert, it's slow, it's relaxed. You might have a bottle of wine. You listen to Keith Sweat when you're about to get some pussy or something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? When you're trying to vibe out and relax. But with a guy like Travis Scott, it's so up-tempo. It's so up-tempo. It's so fiery. It's so energetic. And that tends to, spread out into the audience. Yeah. And I can't blame him for the actions of people. You know, he's just trying to put on a show. Yeah. But I think that is he slightly responsible? Yeah, but fuck, like he can't control every individual human being there. You know, and people are hurting themselves. But he had one line that I wanted to read, and he's aware of this. And this is off of Stargazing from his album Astroworld. It came out in 2018. And this is after that guy that went to his 2017 concert got paralyzed. He said, got new enemies. When you at the top, that's the amenities. Packing out Toyota like I'm in the league. And it ain't a mosh pit if ain't no injuries. I got him diving out the nosebleeds. So he knows people are jumping out the fucking nosebleed section. He knows motherfuckers are getting hurt. He even had a documentary on Netflix for a while where it showed like his whole tour and what was going on. And it showed people jumping.
That was a terrible documentary, by the way.
It was a fucked up documentary. It was very bad, actually.
I didn't understand it. It was like so music and behind the scenes stuff. And it was like a YouTube documentary.
It was like, it looked like mental illness or something. Like it was all over the place. Travis Scott's performing, then he's eating breakfast in the next like scene.
Yeah.
Then the next scene he's kissing Kylie, and then now people are jumping off. It's like it was everywhere. But if you're a Travis Scott fan, you would say that's the best thing you ever saw.
Because it remind you of a concert.
Yeah, it remind you of a concert where you snapped your fucking leg because you wanted to jump off the nosebleed section.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, ultimately, man, it's a terrible situation, but there's so much I have to say. But I'm sure Keith wants to interject here soon.
I think that when it comes to...
Hold that thought. I'm sorry. Do you got Freddy Krueger socks on?
No.
Those are Freddy Krueger socks, man.
They could probably see him.
Oh, it's got blue at the top. That threw me off.
Yeah.
It's all Krueger from the bottom down. Go ahead.
So they have... It's just pure pandemonium. I seen one guy, he was it might have been right after the concert, and he was just describing his experience there, and he said, man, it felt like I was in hell. He said you can't move anywhere, you can't breathe. It's like they said 50,000 people like compressed on top of you, and even the furthest person in the back is trying to push towards the front so they can see what's going on. I really got scared when I seen those images of the people, dead, being carried off or being pushed through the audience and stuff like that. And I initially thought about like my younger sister or my brother going to, because we're all fans of music, and they have festivals out here in California, like the Rolling Loud is supposed to be. I think it's at the end of the year. Or it might be this month. I don't know exactly. And then they got the day in Vegas and all these different concerts and festivals and stuff like that. Obviously, those concerts don't have the same energy. Travis Scott might be performing out some of those. I don't know, whatever. But just my initial thoughts were like, man, I would be so heartbroken if, one of my siblings or something happened to just, be a fan of Travis Scott and just showed up to the concert just to have an experience. You know what I mean?
True.
And they're young, they're in their 20s and whatnot. So, that's just, you just want to have that life experience to say that I seen Travis Scott in concert. But then you start to look at the videos, you look at the guy that was saying it was basically hell, and you seeing the fans just break into the festival, not even being let in, and just the sea of people out there, and everyone, going to the social media afterwards, describing their experience. It was just like the most terrifying thing I've seen on social media in a long time.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't think me, Keith, or anybody who wasn't there can quantify the experience, right? But what I can say is that from a very sample size, when I used to work at Sears when I was 20 or 21 years of age, Black Friday was wild back then. And we're talking about 2007. Yeah, 2007, I believe it was. 2006, 2007. And look, man, I remember I was only like 21 years old, and there were grown adults trying to bust through the door. We had this wooden plank that was like a fixed plank that we would stick in the door to lock the doors, like a mechanism to lock it. And we had to put the wooden plank in there so people wouldn't bust through the door and try to get through and get sales on Black Friday. And I had to tell a bunch of grown people while being like 20 or 21, like, hey, dude, you guys got to get outside. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. These people are like 35, 40-something years old. Mm-hmm. They're looking at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, dude, you guys are about to trample me to get into the fucking store? Get out of here, man.
Yeah.
And it was wild. It was a very wild time, and I was doing merchandise pickup at that time, which is basically when people order heavier objects such as refrigerators, washers, dryers, all this shit, I'm lifting these things up and taking it to the customer's car. Mm-hmm. So all day long, I'm moving all this shit all day, and there's people that are pushing and shoving. There's literally fights that broke out in the store. Mm-hmm. People had to be escorted, and that's just a sample size. Imagine 50,000 people in one area at one time. Yeah. Security at an event like that with that many people is basically like decoration. You know, you can't control 50,000 people. If all those people said, fuck it, we're going to rush the stage, we're going to get up there is nothing security can do. There is nothing they can do at that point. Another thing, too, that's fucked up is when you talk about whether it's Black Friday or concerts, there's such a wide spectrum of people in the world, and you don't know what they're capable of. And I noticed that people have I won't say the power in numbers, but when there's more people, I think a lot of people get more brave and tend to do things that they wouldn't do on their own. Like it's been all documented. Things such as Woodstock and Freaknik. These events stopped due to rape and sexual assault, man, because people were raping and sexually assaulting women in broad daylight, man. And in these events, I don't want to draw a parallel, but you kind of have to, because people are on the ground dying during the fucking event and everybody's just walking over them.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of lose. It's like you're in a trance. It's like you're almost possessed. And I don't want to go into like anything demonic, but I'm using possessed in a way that you're so possessed by the moment that you don't care about anyone else's well-being. You're trying to enjoy an event that you paid for. And to me, that's just so fucked up.
Yeah. And in that Kanye West interview, with Nori, he mentioned like the 808s and how there was like this, like that same sort of trance or like that, I don't know, like mesmerizing effect that the 808s have.
You mentioned the chakras, I think you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. So when and he was talking about how like it's always like sexual or aggressive, right? And you think about like the type of music that we love as far as hip hop, it's all bass, you know what I mean? You riding down the streets and you hearing people's trunks rattling, or even when I went to the J. Cole concert, like when I was in there, I could feel my body, not J. Cole's music because he's like the quality of his music is better than like the other guys. It was Moray and 21 Savage. The quality of J. Cole's, I'm not saying he makes better music. That's just an opinion. But like the quality of it, as far as like the sonics and the way it was mixed and stuff, J. Cole's set sounded better, right? But with Moray, it was like literally like your ears is hurting and all this kind of stuff. So you could just imagine like the like you're talking about the chakras and just how emotionally an 808 feels when you're surrounded by 50 million people. And like you're saying, just like a bunch of people, imagine like 50,000 people in there with all of their inhibitions lowered, and you're not even thinking coherently because there's not really any consequences as far as anything you're doing.
100%.
So you could take drugs, you could smoke a little bit of weed, you could touch somebody, you could do all these different things, and you know that nothing is going to happen to you because it's not it's just so many people. Like you're just you're like a pebble on this sand on a beach.
It's a diluted version of the Purge. Because the Purge is like a lawless moment where you are, allowed to kill people, which is obviously this is all fictional. But imagine any like sample size of that is not good, right? And you have to understand that the average person that's just going out into the sea of thousands of people, everybody's not going to be good Samaritans. There are a lot of people that are at that concert to have a good time, and that's all they care about. And not to mention there are a lot of young people. So you have a bunch of young people whose brains are not developed. And this is through a science, like science has proven that your frontal lobe or your frontal cortex is not developed until your later 20s. So I would assume a lot of these people at these events are 21, 24, 22, 20 years of age. And they're fucking probably doing acid, and they're probably popping mollies, or probably doing syrup. Whatever they're doing, they're probably on syrup. They pass the fuck out.
Yeah, that's the tough part too. Is like it's unfortunate when like young people like that don't get to learn from their mistakes. Because it's a person that probably done, overdosed and all that, and they may be 30, 40 years old now, and they have that life experience to say like, man, I'm never trying that again. I'm glad I made it out. But then you got somebody that may be like 20, 21 years old, and they like, yo, I'm going to a festival. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do some shrooms. I'm going to pop this pill. I'm going to pop that pill. I'm going to drink a little bit I'm going to pregame before I get there. And then they get there, and that's the last time, that we see them, or, that they're alive. And it's just unfortunate, like, that we kind of adopt this festival culture as well.
Yeah.
You know, you hear people talking about it all the time. Like, even like, I think Frank Ocean has the lyrics where he's referencing like doing drugs at Coachella and stuff like that. On top of the fact that like the type of music that Travis Scott makes is like he condones mosh pits. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Exactly.
He wants those things to happen. And part of that is like, it's a good time. You know, even like with like XXX, you would see like people at his concerts like going crazy and pushing each other and all this kind of stuff. So there are certain artists, it's kind of like a rock star thing,
right.
You know, like there would be a lot of like grunge bands and stuff like that would be performing in these like hole in the wall spots, and it would just be people pushing each other around. So a lot of hip hop artists have kind of adopted that type of thing, and you know, they brought it over here. So it's just kind of this culture mixed with drugs, mixed with
right.
a bunch of 20-something-year-old kids that are not very, they got mushy brains.
Yeah.
So the decisions that they're making prior to even getting there, on top of the fact that there's this like, not only the music that could kind of have you in this trance, but also like seeing celebrities. There's something mesmerizing that happens when you see Travis Scott not only on stage but on these huge projectors.
It's infatuation.
Yeah, and then Drake comes out, and it's just like you almost lose yourself. And me and Eddie were talking about this prior to the podcast. For me, like I've been around like some celebrities, not like. I haven't been around like a lot of my idols, but I have been around some B-list celebrities, I guess you would say. So, and Eddie was saying, like, he was telling me, he's like, man, I can't see myself acting like this infatuated or this like mesmerized when it comes to celebrities. And I was like, I would say the same thing, but there have been situations where I've been super cool and not necessarily worried about celebrities. And then there's also situations where I almost like couldn't necessarily think coherently or whatever. So there was a time where I had just got I was at the LAX and I was picking up my bags, and I was waiting to get picked up to taken back to my car, because I parked my car at like the little parking lot or whatever. And I was walking through, and I seen these. It was like 2 or 3 6'8" niggas just like in the airport, and I was like, that obviously that's you just stand out like a sore thumb. So I'm walking through the airport, and I walk over there. I'm like, oh snap, that's Jalen Rose and Paul Pierce and Mark Jackson, like the guys that were commentating on the game or whatever. And it was the playoffs. I think the Warriors might have been playing the Trailblazers. And I think the Warriors had came back and won the game or whatever. So I go in there, and I go up and I shake their hands. But what I realized in that moment is I forgot their names. Like, I obviously walked over there because I knew who they were. But it wasn't like being starstruck or anything, but it was just that aura, that energy of seeing like people that you've seen on TV and stuff like that. So I just say that to say, like, I can understand how people... You know, you at a Travis Scott concert, you see him running around the stage, somebody that you've listened to a million different times in your headphones and played it in your car. You know every word on the album, and then you getting that aura. You get around a bunch of different Travis Scott fans, and you're consuming those lyrics, and they're not even like you're embodying those lyrics. You know that you've seen concerts over the past 2 or 3 years where people are going crazy and mosh pitting and stuff like that, and you taking that and you want to be, embody that same energy at the concert that you're at too.
I think that's why it's important for as artists, you have to be more responsible with your platform. Because the shit that you say, people are experiencing and living those lyrics. Mm-hmm. So if you say, sip the syrup, then I sip the lean, they're gonna fucking do syrup and lean. Yeah. If you say, I did some coke, now I'm with my team, they're gonna snort coke.
Yeah.
This is when a lot of artists say things such as like, look, I'm not a role model, I'm not that person's parent, but you're a whole lot fucking cooler than their parents.
Yeah.
People are going to be more influenced by Travis Scott than their dad named Scott. Okay? That's a fucking fact. Mm-hmm. You know, and these massive events, man, people, like you mentioned, they lose themselves, they get involved in all this shit. And now what it is too is when you see someone on TV and you're listening to them and they're massive, you have amplified this view of this person now. Mm-hmm. You like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm seeing this person in real time with my eyes. When in actuality, that motherfucker is just like you. He just is living his dreams in front of you.
Yeah.
See, this is we have this disassociation. Like another thing too, like when me and Keith mentioned, you know, we want to do podcasts, we want to get paid to do this. We love doing this. When you tell the average person that, they can't even believe it because that dream is so massive that it doesn't even exist on their radar. Mm-hmm. But when me and Keith make it, people gonna be like, oh my God, I can't believe I used to go to school with Eddie. Oh my God, I can't believe me and Keith used to be in class together. Mm-hmm. And like, truth be told, we're just regular guys. Mm-hmm. We just made it in that field. We've reached the apex of that. And a lot of people aren't used to seeing that. It's so foreign to them that when they get in front of it, they lose their minds. Like, let me give you another example. This is completely left field, apples and oranges, I guess. But imagine being a guy and you like this chick, she likes you, whatever the case, and she's like, yeah, I mean, I don't like, I'm holding out on sex. I don't want to do that right now. But if Chris Brown walked up, he would get the pussy that day. Mm-hmm. And it's because the star is so massive that people get drunk on celebrity.
Yeah.
And they get possessed by celebrity. Mm-hmm. Not from like in a demonic way, but literally, they're so infatuated with what they're seeing that they get out of character, and what they're witnessing is driving them. They're not even driving themselves.
Yeah.
You think about how barbaric it is to be at an event and it's dead motherfuckers on the ground, and you like, that's right, yeah, and you not even notice the motherfucker begging for air on the ground. That's wild, bro.
That's the thing about it. When I think about, there's 50,000 people there, and that's just the estimate. 50,000 people there, and they say 8 people died, and then 300 were injured. You know how difficult it is to pick out 8 people in an unstructured like group of 50,000 people? You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, and especially when you're trying to point people in the direction. So one, if you're surrounding it and you're a person that's like, hey, this person is having a seizure, or hey, this person just passed out or whatever. So you got to imagine you're trying to get the attention of an EMT or a security guard or whatever the case may be, which it only may, and I don't know the system for it. It may be like 1 or 2 EMTs or ambulance or whatever to every 300. I don't know. It may be some sort of system like that. But you got to. It's just like, it's the difficulty of picking out those people while these people are passed out or having seizures. It's almost unrealistic. I don't think that we should, like, in festivals. I think done right, they're like in a really amazing time. Like, I could see myself, like, I wish I could afford to go to Coachella just because I see a lot of those artists there, and I'm like, yo, it just looks like
somebody was selling grass at Coachella.
Really?
So Kanye's grass.
Oh, well, that's a smart businessman. But I mean, I could see myself going to certain festivals. Like my boy, he just went to her had a festival up in the Bay Area, I think. And obviously she's an R&B singer, and most of the people on the bill were R&B singers. But I think they're like great experiences just to experience music surrounded by a bunch of people that are fans of the same type of music that you are. But I honestly don't think this will change much of anything. I think that this is news because it's the most recent thing, but this is not new by any means. This happens even at Coachella. There are people that pass out from being dehydrated and doing drugs and stuff like that. I think it's unfortunate. I hope it changes something about it. I don't want it to change it in a way where we can't have these type of experiences anymore.
We've already had a case study millions of times. And here's the thing. This is what happens when you choose profit over people. If this didn't work for chickens, why would it work for humans? And let me explain. We seen the documentary Super Size Me, the last one, where they put these chickens in these cages or in these very cooped up situations, and these chickens grow too big, and a lot of them end up dying from being right on top of each other. So if it doesn't work for chickens, why would you do it to humans? Think about it.
I don't know about that example.
It is a good example because the chickens are dying, but they say, fuck it, it's cool. We got enough healthy chickens, we can still profit off them. So what I'm saying is they're not thinking about spacing people differently. They're not thinking about putting people and reducing capacity because it would reduce the cash flow. So if you don't reduce, if you're actively not reducing the amount of people in a venue, it's because you're trying to reach maximum profit. Yeah. That's all it is. So when you smashing 50,000 motherfuckers in one space and a person's on the ground, there should be enough space for when a person falls on the ground, hey, we need an ambulance. He should have enough room to fucking breathe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's why I use the chickens, because the chickens, one, they get so fat, they fucking fold over on top of each other, and it's not enough space. Mm-hmm. That's why they use the word, I guess, free range. But you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But they're not really free range chickens. They just add like a little. They
open the door.
They open the door and they open it and then they put a fence on it. Mm-hmm. But it's still a bunch of chickens in there. Yeah. And the reason why I use it as an analogy is because they're making maximum profit off of minimal space and chickens. Mm-hmm. And they got this venue is reaching maximum profit, but I bet you in the back of someone's mind, maybe some guy that had the venue started, or all the different thinking heads involved are like, well, I mean, only 8 people died. Yeah. Somebody is saying that shit. Only 8 people died. Not that big a...
It would depend on how they died also. If I'm running a festival and someone died of an overdose, that's not, and it sounds harsh to say, that's not really my fault.
That's true. They're gonna first of all, if they're gonna be sued, or they actually are being sued. They're suing Drake and Travis Scott, but this is America. Anybody can be sued, even when there's no real merit to the suit. However, they're gonna make sure that each and every person that died is going to be drug tested, and it's going to be a full analysis of the person's body. If they had coke in it, if they got Molly in it, if they got all the things that Travis Scott talks about, if it's in their body, ultimately they'll be found not guilty, but they'll be found you died due to
civil suit.
Yeah. Sad, ain't it? Sad how, an artist can talk, and I love Travis Scott, but it's sad that an artist can talk about these things, whether it's Molly or whatever it is, and then you end up going to a show and dying of a Molly fucking overdose and passing out, and now you just forgotten.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
You get his approval. I think his approval would be like him speaking about it in his lyrics. And I'm not the hugest Travis Scott fan, so I'm not going to be up here trying to point out lyrics where he was talking about specific things, but
I've heard it.
Yeah, it's just it sucks that I think as fans a lot of times you're almost raised by these certain artists. Like they kind of give you the okay to do certain things. Like when I think about artists that are like Kanye West, like I used to dress like Kanye West when I was in junior high. You know what I mean? I just I love the sample based music. So when I was making music, I was like, oh, I want to sample like Kanye West. Or when I think about Jay-Z, I think about businesses and owning multiple businesses and all these different things. So when you think about artists that you really have affinity for, it's like they almost it's almost like a vetting process for like the things that you would like to do with do yourself. But a lot of times, like you were saying, when kids is 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, they can't differentiate the good things that the artist is speaking about from the bad things. And sometimes the artist may not actually have like any good things that they're talking about. If you're listening to a guy like Future, I can't pinpoint any hit single that he has that is actually conscious. No. It's a lot of drugs. It's a lot of sleeping with niggas, females, and all this kind of stuff. So if you're a young person, and we're all influenced to some degree. So even if you were influenced in the same capacity that I was, you would listen to Future and think it's okay to pop a Molly or Percocet or whatever the case may be.
You know who I have a problem with that jumped on the bandwagon with that not too long ago was Drake, and it was annoying when he's like, I pop half a Xan, then there's something before. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Drake. Shut up. This shit shouldn't even be in your music, man. I can't tell you what to put in it, but it just seems so off-brand.
I don't think anybody should do it. I can't say just because it's Drake, because I don't know what Drake does in his personal life. Yeah. But I just think overall it's not okay for anybody to.
No, it's not, but it's just weird. Like it's like you go from I'm just saying we should do better. I pop half a Xan. It's like shut the fuck up, man.
Xannies is popular, man. I can't say that because I know that, well, one, Xanax is for anxiety. So yeah. I don't know what Drake's mental health is like. So maybe it is a thing that he's, consuming in that capacity.
No, he ain't. Not when you put it in a song and you make it. Look, when you put it in a song and make it sound like a jingle and you try to make it catchy, right? I don't think he's not saying it's for medicinal purposes. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's corny to me, and it's too many irresponsible artists that do that. Yeah. I think the most responsible person with their platform, even though he was a wreck, was Kid Cudi. Mm-hmm. When I go to Kid Cudi's Instagram and I click on his profile, it'd be people in the comments, your music saved my life. Your music saved my life. Your music saved my life. And he was going through episodes of depression, suicidal thoughts, and he was transparent about it. He was transparent about his cocaine use, all of that shit, even though he was doing it, and he didn't try to make it cool. Mm-hmm. He didn't try to make that shit cool. He had issues with mental health, and he was very transparent about all those things. Yeah. I think these artists are failing across the board, and it's being shown at these live shows. When you got 19-year-olds dying of motherfucking Molly and shit, it's like, come on. It's certain shit you shouldn't make cool. Mm-hmm. It's certain shit you just should not make cool. I don't give a fuck how many artists run away from, look, I'm not the artist's parents. You got the Cardi B's and you got everybody, Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, all these women. Let's be clear. You know how many women out there act like Meg Thee Stallion and fucking Cardi B? A ton of them. Mm-hmm. Wearing the same shit. Everybody half naked. Everybody toxic now. It's crazy. And that's not just to blame female artists. That's to blame artists in general. Mm-hmm. You got women out here that's being influenced to scam dudes. Mm-hmm. Scammers. I don't know if you've been catching that, the city girl, hot girl conversation and the scam. Like, this is trash. That shit is not okay. And the thing about it is, it's what sells, though. When you narrow down why all this shit's happening, the kids dying, shit's going on, and Molly and all of that, it comes down to profit. What's profitable? Let's shove all these motherfuckers in one venue and make max profit. Okay, 8 people died. That's not that many people. Let's go ahead and put 1,000 chickens in this small square footage, and we only 40 chickens died. It ain't that big a deal. We're gonna eat them anyway. Yeah. Yeah. It's just what people do, man. It's unfortunate, and I don't want to keep reiterating the same point, but if you narrow it down, man, it's just profit. Because Future said he doesn't do drugs. Yeah. How the fuck you don't do drugs and you always talking about it? That's not real, bro. That's fake. Mm-hmm. That's fake. And my thing is this, I have no reason to call Future fake to his face or whatever, but if he ever spoke on me, I'm 20 times the man you are, because you talking about drugs you don't even fucking do. Shut the fuck up. It's kids dying because of the shit that you put in the fucking music, and you don't got the responsibility to get out in front of it and tell people not to do drugs. Juice WRLD, you did an album with Juice WRLD, and Juice WRLD died of a fucking overdose, and you my age. How the fuck you 36 and a dude you did a collaboration with is dead now? Mm-hmm. You should be ashamed of yourself. And this is the type of shit these are the type of kids that are in the fucking audience at these concerts. When is somebody gonna take responsibility for it? I can't directly make Travis Scott responsible for this event, but some of the liability is on Travis Scott. Mm-hmm. Some of it. Not all of it, some of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna follow that up. So,
Man, I don't know what happened, man. Just it's kind of like your brain starts going 100 miles an hour. You start thinking about it, man, and it's just like, fuck, man, it's fucked up.
Yeah, we have to do something. We can't just keep like even this is a more modern message in hip hop.
Right.
You know, there wasn't ever a time where the music or the medicinal drug or whatever was the chorus. You know what I mean? We were, at least in the 90s, they're rapping about, obviously you're going to have an example, and I'm not trying to be like literal, but I'm saying like the majority of music was not about substances that were like killing us in the same way.
That's false. It was the crack epidemic was fucking huge.
People were rapping about taking crack.
No, not taking crack.
That's what I'm
selling
saying.
crack. It's no difference from selling and doing it.
I think that
still death.
It is, but my point is that in the 90s, people weren't. The idea of consuming crack was not the hook in the song. The idea of taking Molly's or taking Xanax or Percocets or all these things are the hooks or the catchy portions of a song. And I don't think this is a fad. I think this is here to stay. And I just hope that we see all these different examples. And I also hope that people realize that there are more than one way of making profit in this industry. It's, you know, you have many examples of artists out there that are uber successful that are not talking about popping these pills. You know what I mean? So I would just hope that it's almost like a crutch for a guy like Future that is actually talented at making music. For him to think that the only way he can make great music is by referencing drugs is kind of a shame.
I think the reference to drugs in any capacity is cheap, and I think that 90s artists are just as guilty as these motherfuckers. The difference is they're doing drugs now instead of actually think about it. A fucking Fat Joey Crack, always got some song, fucking Pusha T's still talking about crack, and he's 40 years old.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? Nobody even smokes crack anymore. That's a antiquated drug, right? And then you got freaking, I forget, was it Master P? I can't remember. Make crack like this. Like, it was a fucking hook. Like, it was a bunch of bullshit in hip-hop in the 90s and in the 80s, just like it is now.
Yeah.
Tons of trash. 50 Cent, all kind of different artists talking about my triple beam scale and all. It's like, dude, the selling of drugs, the doing of drugs is terrible. And the unfortunate thing is the impoverished circumstances in which a lot of these artists come from, this is their reality. And the unfortunate thing is this is all they know how to talk about. There's no real in-depth things for them to really go into length about. When you got a Kid Cudi, and Kid Cudi is talking about, you know, his demons and his demons in his head, and I'm in a pursuit of happiness was a song just about basically doing the right or wrong things, just giving real world examples of things. But a lot of artists don't come equipped with that. Like, it's certain ones like, I would say Chance the Rapper is a pretty dope artist. Obviously, we talked about Kid Cudi. Childish Gambino, love him as an artist. It's a handful, man. It's not a whole bunch. Man, who's some other artists today that actually rap about things outside of this?
Russ was one of the guys that had the shirt that got everybody got everybody's panties up in a bunch.
Yeah.
He wore that shirt at some festival.
Yes.
About rappers taking pills and stuff like that.
Yeah, Russ is another one. And look, I don't want to be a hypocrite because there's some artists that I really like a lot that really don't talk about shit. Like, I like Schoolboy Q. He don't really talk about shit.
Yeah,
I
think it's going to be hard for everyone to have this. That's why for me, I can't equate the taking and selling of drugs because part of it, there are some artists that still at 40, 50 years old, they're rapping about selling drugs.
Yeah,
but then there's also artists that have kind of like graduated from that content. Even like a guy like early NWA stuff, Ice Cube, or even Jay-Z, who's, you know, obviously a notorious drug dealer and stuff like that. But that's not his content anymore.
Yes.
And some people have a different take on it outside of like making it cool. Some people are just telling their story. So I think that's a little bit different than the people that are just in 2021 talking about selling crack still, or I had so many birds flying, whatever.
Yeah, I think it's just the unfortunate thing is when you, because I mean I go on SoundCloud. Obviously, our podcast is on SoundCloud as well. But you know, I'll see like not preferred, but recommended artists, and I'll click on some random song, and the artist usually has that weird like auto-tune thing going on. Yeah, and then it's like Percocet, smiling and smoking and Molly, and it's some reference to drugs and some raggedy fucking production in the background, but usually drugs is. Yeah. You hear about Lil Xan? Mm-mm. Lil Xan said like I'm gonna die.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
He said I'm gonna die. Like he's like if I keep going, it's like I try to go to rehab multiple times, but I'm gonna die. And I'm just like, dog.
His name is Lil Xan.
Your name is Lil Xan, but see, living up to that name gonna get you killed.
I think I'm not like an addiction expert or whatever, but. I would suggest he change his name because you are what your thoughts are, right? So
that's a good point.
If you call yourself Lil Xan, then you know,
call yourself Lil Recovered.
That's a joke, but it's real.
Lil Rehab,
Lil Sober,
Lil Clean, Lil Sober.
It's just unfortunate. It's
Lil Detox.
It sucks that like everyone there's like archetypes, you know what I mean?
Right.
And everyone seems to think that the only way to be a successful musician in hip hop is to reference drugs or something like that.
And you know what's sad though is I'll say this before we move on, but these type of people exist in all platforms. Like there's a podcast where they think that they have to talk loud and always say something funny in order to engage an audience. Mm-hmm. And you can see it. Like there's like almost like a script. It's just like the radio guy. Yeah. I wonder who the first person was to do that radio voice. Yeah. I heard Joe Rogan talking about it like, hey, everybody, how you doing? It's 6 a.m. in the morning. It's about like, who was the first person to do that?
I think that was cool.
And now when you turn on the radio, you hear the same type of voice or the same type of energy. It's like, why you don't talk like that? Why the fuck are you talking like that?
This the Flame in 103.9.
You're like, dude, shut the fuck up.
And where did I get all these weird like nicknames for the radio station?
This is Doggy Style 107.
This is Straight Up 93.9.
This is W Balls.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. What's the ones out here? It's 103.9. What is it? What's the ones out here? 94.1.
94.1.
Right? Yeah. What's it called? Was it Hot 94.1?
Yeah.
They had another one back in the day. They don't got it no more.
It might be. I think it's like 3 hip hop stations out here, and it might be some like a few pop stations.
The thing that suck about the radio that I can't listen to is they play the same shit all goddamn day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Especially when you have a choice. I used to, when I worked in Aaron's, what they would do is they would just turn it to the top 40 radio station, and they would just play that all day. And it was cool in a sense, but then you realize like when your song is like a hit, it's gonna play like once every hour, and then you just get tired of hearing.
That's crazy, bro. They got to stop that shit. Mm-hmm. I mean, this formula worked for many years, and I mean, I guess it still works now, but. The unfortunate thing is, like, times are really changing, man. Yeah. They're really, really changing. And it's like the radio has not evolved since the fucking inception of radio.
Yeah. I think that I would say that it has evolved in some capacity because it's we don't care for the radio itself. We care for the radio personalities. So, like, when you think about Big Boy, Breakfast Club,
DJ Hit.
Hot 97, DJ Head, yeah.
Yeah.
All these guys, we gonna look on YouTube for their interviews and, you know, what they have to say, their takes on. I'm sure somebody right now like, dang, I wonder what Hot 97 has to say about this whole Travis Scott concert. I wonder what Hot 97 has to say about the Kanye West interview and stuff like that. So it's like the personalities have become bigger than the stations itself.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I feel like Breakfast Club was the ones like spearheading that movement. Because there was some guys that was out like before them, but it was real bland. Mm-hmm. You know, like the Funkmaster Flexes of the world and whatnot. Mm-hmm. You know, but overall, the radio, I won't say it's dead, but it's not remotely, like you talk about I won't say characters, but the personalities, like podcasting in general, is so much more powerful. Mm-hmm. Just based on the fact that there's like so many of them, for one, and two, they get money.
Yeah, for sure.
Rory and Maul getting way more than a lot of them radio people.
Yeah,
that's a fact. Well, all right, switching gears. Recently, unfortunate story about a Raiders wide receiver, Henry Ruggs.
I gotta use the bathroom, bro.
Oh, man, you always got to do something, man. Damn. Like I was saying, just Keith could be shitting his pants and be trying to do this with his Freddy Krueger socks on. All right. Henry Ruggs facing additional felony charges, looking at 46 years in prison. Jesus Christ. Former Las Vegas wide receiver Henry Ruggs will face another set of serious charges in the fatal accident he was involved in early Tuesday. Prosecutors will charge Ruggs with additional felony counts of DUI and reckless driving due to the injuries suffered by his passenger, girlfriend Kiera Janae Kilgo Washington. Additionally, a misdemeanor charge for possession of a firearm. Additionally, a misdemeanor charge for possession of a firearm while under the influence. A loaded gun was found in Ruggs' car at the scene of the accident. Jesus Christ. That saw a 23-year-old woman and her dog lose their lives when a Corvette, the former Raiders wide receiver, was driving, slammed into their car. Ruggs, 22, initially faced being charged with felony driving under the influence, resulting in death, and reckless driving after prosecutors said he was driving 156 miles per hour and had a blood alcohol level of 161, more than twice the legal limit in the state of Nevada. Ruggs faces a total of 5 charges and faces the possibility of 46 years in prison if convicted on all charges. Let me be clear when I say this. He deserves every bit of that 46 years. When you make a decision as an adult, and it's unfortunate that Henry Ruggs is a young man, you notice a common theme of young people getting involved in situations that you can't come back from. You know, and it's unfortunate that people can't learn their lesson. But when you get in a car drunk, it turns into a death machine. It stops being a car. And when you're driving 156 miles an hour in Las Vegas, that ain't your first rodeo. You've done this dumb shit before. And the unfortunate thing about it, too, is when you're only 22 years old, you got your girlfriend in the passenger seat, you got a loaded gun in the car. Who the fuck are you running from? Who are you running from? What are you doing? Who's around you? Who is in your circle? There's nobody to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. I think that sometimes money and fame and celebrity status is the death of people. Mm-hmm. Like, it seems like some people don't deserve it because they cannot assume the responsibility of being a figure in some sort. If I guarantee you right now, they did they have a story like on the lottery. A lot of people that won a lottery are dead. Mm-hmm. They fucking died or they went broke. We're talking about people that won $10 million broke and dead, or they ended up missing. Mm-hmm. It's because people want things in life, but they are not built for it. If you see like a homeless person and you give him $20 million, he'd probably be dead within a year. Mm-hmm. Just because people just don't have it. They don't have the mental capacity to handle a situation like that. And I feel like Henry Ruggs, that was what happened to him. The fucked up thing though now is the fucking Raiders are in Las Vegas. That's the worst place for a young player to be out of college, is Las fucking Vegas. It's so much drugs, so much pussy everywhere, alcohol, and you got money. You should be responsible enough in a perfect world. But truth be told, you are being fed to the wolves. You better hope and pray that you had a good upbringing as a kid, because if you didn't, you're going to get lost in the sauce. And there wasn't another Raider player recently that got in trouble for a hit and run where he injured a woman. So it's like, yo, is there a team of fuck-ups over there?
Oh, that's not without a question.
Yeah.
This is the Raiders. This is right up their alley.
My goodness.
People screwing up, people ruining their careers, ruining their lives.
One of the only decent human beings on that team is Derek Carr, who's from Bakersfield, by the way, Derek Carr.
You got Derek Carr praying to Jesus and whatnot, and then a bunch of...
I think Derek Carr seemed like the type of dude that'd get frustrated during his prayer. He'd be like, please play for my teammates. Man, these niggas stupid. My bad, God. My bad. Let me get back to my prayer.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's such a sad situation, man. And even piggybacking off the Travis Scott thing, when you think about it, a person that I think she was just sitting at a light, right? When she got...
No, I think she was, but they showed a video. TMZ had it. And it showed the car. I believe it was a RAV4.
Yeah,
it was a RAV4. And the RAV4 is just coasting down the street doing the speed limit. And it showed him, and it was so fast that you couldn't blink. Mm-hmm. And he ran into this girl and...
Head on?
Killed... I don't know if it was head on, but... He killed the girl, and the girl was screaming while the car was on fire. Her and her dog burned. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, dude, and you could see him sitting there while the car's on fire. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dog, he doesn't realize how, like, his life is over. I know this sounds terrible to say. He might as well be dead. His life's fucking over, man. Mm-hmm. You go from being a wide receiver, making money, being in the top 1%, to literally being in prison for 46 years. By the time he is released from prison, he'll just want to go back to prison, because living in regular society at that point is pointless. He's 22. Let's do the math. 22, 32, 42, 52, 62. He'll be in his 60s when he gets out.
How many years is he?
He's supposed to get up to 40-something years.
God damn.
And he deserves every year. Okay, look. We did a podcast not too long ago, and we talked about drinking and driving and how certain things you can't come back from. And I gave an example of a young man who was an alcoholic. He was young, but he was like 19 years old. This kid was so drunk, he drove on the opposite direction of an intersection, ran into somebody head on, and killed them, right? He got his charge reduced down to manslaughter, but he still had to do 1 year in prison. So he did the 1 year in prison, but within that year, he had never been in a fight, and he was, was just like a little square. But he had to go to the hospital with the extensive injuries. By the time he got out of the hospital and went in there, he was only like 130 something pounds, 120. I think he was like 120 pounds or something. He's really small, frail. And he was getting beat up. He's fighting for his life 3 times a day until eventually 4 dudes got him in a room, cornered him, and raped him.
And he got AIDS.
And he got HIV, right? And it's crazy how one decision as a young person can fuck you for life. Mm-hmm. A lot of parents, you need to listen to this, because the unfortunate thing is when you don't have these conversations and you just say, oh, they young, they just gonna have their fun right now, let them do. Tell your kid the truth. Hey, look here, if you're gonna go fuck people, that's cool. Make sure you wear a condom. Make sure you protect yourself. These are real conversations you need to have. Make sure you're on birth control. Make sure you wear condoms. Don't drink and drive. Make sure friends drive. If you don't have these concrete conversations and you just let people do what they do, your kid's going to end up fucking dead somewhere. Mm-hmm. Your kid's going to end up inflicting pain on someone that had nothing to do. Isn't it crazy how someone's irresponsibility can affect your life forever? Mm-hmm. That's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just an innocent girl, man. And I think that when I look at both of these stories, man, it makes me so sad, because you think like how, and not necessarily with Travis Scott, but with this situation, how like someone's stupidity can ruin an entire person's family. I'm sure she had I don't know. I would imagine she had, mother, father, siblings, something like that. I can imagine imagine the disdain you would have if you were a Raiders fan and you were also related to that woman, right? You go into the games rooting for him. You might have been excited that they drafted him, and then to know that person with, one stupid night in a blink of an eye just ruined your entire life.
How could you be so goddamn fucking stupid? I just don't get it. And it's just so selfish.
Like you were saying too, as far as the speed at which he was driving, that was a drunk thing, but that wasn't really a drunk thing.
Yeah.
When I imagine people driving drunk, it's not going 156 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's swerving in and out of lanes. You probably have some perception of what the speed limit is, but the way that you're viewing the road and the way that you're viewing your surroundings is totally different. But driving 156 miles per hour is something that you have probably done before.
Yes, I think this guy was completely disassociated from reality. Mm-hmm. I think that not only was he drunk, but he had to be under the influence of something in addition to him having some type of depression or something. And I'm not trying to give him a mental illness cop-out or, whatever. Because mm-hmm. I'm not absolving him of anything. But to drive 156 miles in Las Vegas, man. Mm-hmm. In Vegas.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. And then when you get out the car, the girl is screaming and burning. And you sit there and watch her burn.
Mm-hmm.
She was screaming. They got it on fucking video.
Yeah.
The dog burned and the girl burned. Oh my God, yo. That is so wild. I think people really need to reevaluate how serious driving a car is. I think we tend to lose that feeling. You know that feeling when you first got your license? Mm-hmm. And how good it felt to be independent and go to the store when you wanted to, or go pick up your friends when you wanted to, or if you want to go on a date, you could do that now because you're an adult, right? You're independent. You could do these things. But we tend to lose that value of appreciating how serious driving a car is. Driving a car is a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is it a privilege, but it is a huge fucking responsibility. And I say that as a truck driver. I haul fuel for a living. I drive a bomb for a fucking living. I know how serious and how important it is to do my job the right way because there are innocent men, women, and children all over the road. And if I feel like, I only got 1 hour of sleep, I'm tired, who cares? I'll drive anyways. That one decision for me to get on the road could hurt so many people. I haven't had a lot of situations where I was tired and I couldn't go to work. But if I was tired, I'll call out. I'll be like, hey, I can't come in. You got to get somebody else to come in. I didn't get no sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking a risk. That's not worth it. It's crazy. And by the way, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Have I driven drunk before? I have. Biggest regret of my life. Luckily, I didn't hurt anyone or myself. I was about 21 years of age when I did it. I had no intentions of doing it, but I ended up getting in my car so I could go home. And man, imagine if I would have hit somebody. Imagine if I would have hurt somebody. You know what I mean? But even in my, and I wasn't sloppy drunk, but I was legally drunk.
Mm-hmm.
But even during that, I was driving the speed limit.
Mm-hmm.
I was conscious that man, I'm fucked up. God damn it.
How'd you feel?
I felt like I was extra cautious. I felt like I was hyper aware because I knew my awareness was lower. Since I knew my awareness was lower and I wasn't loopy, but I knew that I was off. I was off my game, man. I wasn't alert like I should be. And I was looking in my mirrors a lot. I was watching the speed limit. I was driving the speed limit pinpoint, but I was still drunk.
I wonder, in that situation, does it mention if the girlfriend was drunk too?
I don't know if she was, but what I can say is whoever his girlfriend was, I don't know how bad I feel for her or whatever. If I feel bad for her or I don't. I feel bad that she got hurt being in a car with him, but at the same time, if this dude, this is not the first time he displayed that behavior. Ladies, please listen to me. Do not get in the car with a man who has done some shit like this. Don't get in the car with a dude that has a loaded gun. They found a loaded gun in his car too. Mm-hmm. Who are you running from, homie?
I think that the thing that saddens me about these situations the most, and there's been many situations in Bakersfield, same scenario, is that it's always the person that survives is always a drunk person.
Exactly.
And it's like, man, if it's the other way around, I would feel bad because a person lost their life. But also you have to, we know that there's a natural selection that goes on with our lives, or there's always a consequence to our actions. But when it comes to these situations, there's always the same scenario. The drunk driver is driving around, they hit somebody head on, however many people lose their lives, and the other person survives.
I'm going to say this. It sounds very like I have zero empathy, but let me be clear when I say this. I have a little bit of a different perspective because I'm a truck driver. And whenever you've went around, like when you've been across the country and you've seen a lot of people like flipped over, you see families that, and you don't even want to look at the scene because you know someone's dead and there could be a possible drunk driver situation. You kind of wish the drunk driver ran into a wall. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish you ran into a fucking wall and hurt yourself instead of hurt a bunch of innocent people that had nothing to do with anything. Mm-hmm. It is so selfish, right? Now, I could say the political correct thing and say, hey, I hope no one gets hurt. I hope everybody goes home safe. But truth be told, bro, if you got deadly behavior driving down the road, it's better you than them, brother. You made the decision to get drunk and get in that fucking car. After that point, that's on you. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I was to hurt somebody when I drove drunk that night.
Me and my guy was talking, and we were in the car and we looked at our speedometer. It was like, yo, my car doesn't even physically go 156 miles per hour.
That's crazy.
To know that you could even reach that speed in that Corvette that he was driving it's not even, you can't even fathom that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but this like, you got to understand, the world is all about selection. We have speed limits, but we have cars that go over 200 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. We have laws against drunk driving, but we have bars that are open till 2 a.m. So the world is all about choices. You make the choices that put you in the best places. Like I mentioned before when I said, ladies, please don't get in the car with a dude that you know has a loaded gun, or don't stop being in the car with dudes that you know, let's say you like that thug type dude. Stop being around these guys because these guys got enemies. You could get shot at. I know people who have lost children due to the actions of people that wanted to date X and Y. I know all kinds of things that are going on, but at the end of the day, every choice you make can be a definite decision for literally forever. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we realize these things. If I was to, after we do this podcast, if I was to go to some liquor store and I get 340 ounces and I'm drinking them as I'm driving out of town, I'm dangerous, dude. I may think, oh, I'm Eddie from a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm a good guy. But truth be told, I'm drunk. My inhibitions have been lowered. I got my foot on the pedal, and I don't even know how fast or slow I'm going because, I forgot that because I'm drunk now. It seems like being drunk is basically like deleting alertness little by little from your brain. Mm-hmm. You know, the little things that you use to keep you engaged. You know how you'd be like, I left here's my keys here. Oh, let me put them there. You tend to forget all those little things that keep you safe while you're driving when you are under the influence. Mm-hmm. This is just a fucked up situation all around. And Derek Carr said, you know what, a lot of people, you know, I forgot what he said verbatim, but he said, if nobody will pray for him, I will. If nobody will love him, I will. And that's powerful to say. He said he probably feels horrible about himself right now, but if nobody will love him, I will.
Yeah. And
I tell you what, that's his Christian value speaking, because the average person does not give a fuck about Henry Ruggs right now.
Yeah, you know, Rick Ross's album, God Forgives, I Don't.
Yeah.
That's like the average person.
That's the average person. Mm-hmm. God forgives, I don't. Mm-hmm. And that's like, yo, It's some people, bro. I remember I seen this was on Dateline. There was a dude that murdered this girl. He murdered this girl, I think he was like 19 or 20 or something like that. And he'd been locked up for like over 35 years. Mm-hmm. And he met the girl's dad, came to the prison to forgive him. Mm-hmm. And the murderer was just like in shock, and he was crying. He was like, I just want to tell you, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And it's like, bro, you don't deserve forgiveness. You should get shot in the motherfucking head. If we being honest, you deserve to be dead, bro. Mm-hmm. You killed this man's daughter. An eye for an eye would be a perfect remedy for your bitch ass. Mm-hmm. But this man came to forgive you. Forgiveness is such a powerful thing.
Yeah. I think it's important on the victim's end, because when you're harboring those feelings, it could ruin your life.
That's true. But I just think that there's some things that there is nothing that will soften the blow from a loss like that. Yeah. Nothing. Mm-hmm. If I say I forgive you because I need to forgive you so I can move on with my life, truth be told, I could forgive you and pray for you, but I will never forget what you did. Mm-hmm. I will never forget the amount of pain you inflicted on me and my family, and the loss that I took. And what really pisses me off, and I don't want to say this, but this is reality. At the beginning of 2021, as soon as it hit midnight, somebody died from drunk driving. Remember that? Mm-hmm. At the top of the year, motherfuckers don't learn, man. Yeah. They don't learn. There was a girl a few years ago that died on the first day of like 2018, I think it was. She was about to be a registered nurse. I think she had a son. She had so many things she wanted to do, and she died because of a selfish piece of shit that could not get a fucking Uber. Mm-hmm. There are too many avenues to not drink and drive. You got Uber, you got Lyft, you got free taxis. There are free taxis on New Year's Eve, and you still chose to drink and drive. My heart goes out to all the CHP officers that got to go to the scene and watch somebody's brains that are smeared all over the fucking sidewalk. Have you heard of that? It's almost like Scared Straight. It's called Red Asphalt. Have you ever seen it? Mm-mm. Red Asphalt is a very graphic movie that was made. I think they made one in the 90s, and one in the 70s. And it shows everything that happens from car accidents. And they did this on purpose so people can understand that this shit is not a game. They showed a dude with his head opened up with his brains all hanging out. They showed a dude with his arm ripped off and down the street. They showed everything. And people need to see it.
Fear tactics don't work, though.
More people need to see brains all over the place.
It doesn't work, though.
Bro, it may not work. Some people it might. Some people it might.
Save a few people, yeah.
You might. But I don't say this to be comedic at all. Like, we literally, some people don't get it until it's too fucking late. Mm-hmm. And this is what I do believe. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have to have that mistake happen for you to learn. Yeah. Because the lesson that you might be taught may be a definite lesson. It may be a definite lesson. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that kid that was drinking and driving and hit that person head on in the interstate that now has AIDS, he's got a lifelong lesson that he's learned that you cannot reverse.
It's too late.
It's too late. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, man. I don't sit here as a perfect person, as I mentioned before. I have drinking and drove before, and I'm regretful from that. You know what? I will say this. I'm so blessed that I escaped my 20s without something so crazy happening to me. Mm-hmm. I'm so blessed and thankful that I didn't have to end up in jail or dead or fucking in a car accident. And because, man, I could have been in so many situations. Yeah. I've had a situation where I was in a hit and run where two people hit me and drove off, bro.
Really?
Yes. I left the house party, and there was somebody behind me, and thank God I had a car. I thank God that I had a car that was big and that had a massive bumper on it. Mm-hmm. I had that Taurus. It was a 90s. I think it was a 98 or 97 or something. Mm-hmm. It had a protruding bumper that was really hard. I came from a house party, and so I just heard like an engine way back. It was a stoplight that was a little bit from the house. And it probably was about 9 people at this fucking stoplight. It was a long-ass line. I hear an engine behind me. You know how you could hear somebody accelerating?
Mm-hmm. And it's they're just not slowing down.
And they're not slowing down. And it's... And it's getting closer. And then I hear brakes. By the time I turned around like, what the fuck? I was hit. Boom! Hit me. Rear-ended me. Then the car in front of me, I got hit so hard... I got rear-ended so hard, I hit the car in front of me. Mm-hmm. The car behind me, I got out like, what the fuck? First of all, in the front, I had a scratch on the front. There was nothing there. The back of that guy's car was fucking totaled.
Yeah, that's always how. I got rear-ended before too, and some girl was in my Jeep, and some girl was in a like a small Honda. Her front was just, it wasn't bad, but it was enough that you would be. That you would need to get it pulled out or fixed or whatever.
Well, that person in front of me, I hit them. Their shit was all caved in. Both my headlights intact. Not even my fucking license plate was bent up. This is strange. So that person drove off fucked up. The person behind me, they drove off, but I could see they had coolant leaking. And when I tried to get out, they swerved around the car and drove off in the fields and left. And I was like, you motherfuckers. But what was funny is I left that night. And the only thing that happened to the back of the Taurus was the bumper got pushed in a tiny bit, and I was able to pop the other side out, so you really couldn't see like there was much of an accident. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is I'm blessed, for one, that I had a bigger vehicle. If you had like a hatchback, I would have been fucked. Mm-hmm. Who knows what could have happened to me? Mm-hmm. But we've all had these, and I think about other times where I've made it scot-free. And this is just something for people to catch on to, because I don't want to be too long-winded. But whenever you come to a stoplight, and it's late at night, and the light turns green, don't go. Don't go. Just wait, look left, look right, then go. Here's why.
Not even late at night, just in general.
Just in general, that's a fact. Mm-hmm. Just in general.
I always do that.
Just in general.
Especially downtown, people, they're not paying attention. They may not. I've seen people run blatant red lights.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So please take this advice and share it with friends. If you're at any stoplight, do not go because the light is green. Look left, look right, then you go, based on the fact that I have accelerated and a car went right in front of me. Whoosh! They would have hit me on my driver's side and fucking killed me. Mm-hmm. People are irresponsible when they drive, even when they're driving sober. They drive impatient. Mm-hmm. Driving impatient is the same thing as driving impaired, because you're trying to get somewhere so fast that you're not even using your brain. You're not
like a person at a Travis Scott concert.
Yeah, basically, you are driving like Travis Scott. You need to stop it. Mm-hmm. Okay, but yeah,
you're gonna run straight up into somebody.
Yeah, you gonna. Here's the fucked up thing: you gonna run into somebody and hit them and take off running, and then fuck around and I had a blank mind. I was trying to come up with a funny joke. Try to lighten the mood up a little bit from all this dark talk about car accidents. Yeah, man. Just everybody be more responsible, please. Please be responsible. Sure. If you're an alcoholic, please get some help. Please, like seriously, because you're gonna hurt yourself or the people around you, and that ain't all right, man. That ain't cool. All right, switching gears. Where we at, man?
113.
Wow. All right. Joe Budden comes out as bi, and I put a question mark there. And the reason why I put it there...
I'm not buying it.
The reason why I put that there was because... Hold on one second. All right. Let me read this just to give this context, because I see a bunch of people sharing this bullshit clip around, right? And I also see people saying, I knew Joe was gay. I knew he was bisexual. And it's like, dude... You need to stop it because you're spreading false information. Here's why people think Joe Budden came out as bisexual. Former rapper and podcaster Joe Budden is trending on social media for coming out as bisexual. But things might not be quite as they seem. I'm bisexual, end quote. He technically said on today's episode of his podcast. How do I spread the news? How do I spread the word? Yo, listen. I like guys and girls. Spread the word. I'm down.
I'm down.
Out of context, it sounds like Budden is coming out.
I'm down.
When you listen to the entire clip, the 41-year-old's comments are a part of a much uglier conversation. In context, Joe Budden and his co-hosts are discussing the baby debacle. Earlier in the summer, on stage at Rolling Loud, Miami, the rapper went on stage and let loose a flurry of homophobic comments. If you didn't show up with HIV and AIDS or any of that deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighter in there. This is just, quoting what the baby said, right?
So funny.
So basically, this guy, he put his cell phone lighter. He was fucking stupid. After first, the baby doubled down on the comments and went to Instagram Live, and his words were meant to call action, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, anyways, Elton John, okay, this is a lot of shit. I want the poly LGBT community, blah, 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 blah. Okay, no. Basically, what Joe Budden
Why
did,
they have a Joe Budden article about the baby and Elton John?
Yeah, so back to Budden. So it's way down here. So back to Budden, who discussed the drama on his podcast. In conversation, Budden and his co-host actually compare LGBT plus community to the mafia and say the community is extorting the baby for apologies and money to allow him to perform on stage again. This is the context in which Budden came out seemingly as a preventative tactic to keep the gays off his back. So
I'm down. So
basically, look, let's be clear. First and foremost, I think that the baby conversation is kind of like dated now. Mm-hmm. I think that me and Keith covered it a while back, and we don't keep jumping over it, which to me jumps to Joe Budden's irresponsibility as a podcaster.
Well, they were talking about it because he had a conversation with the LGBTQ leader or a company or CEO or something.
Yeah.
And they kind of like, I guess the conversation is based off of the idea of the guys on the Joe Budden podcast thinking that the baby had a conversation with somebody. He paid them a few dollars to kind of give him the approval to go back and do tours and stuff. So that's like the precipice to what he was saying.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. You have to be more responsible with how you, basically how you respond to it, because the LGBT community is a community of a bunch of people, not just these people who work in these high places, you know? Mm-hmm. And he said that basically they're trying to extort such and so forth. Truth be told, I think it's politically correct to not say anything remotely that pushes back on LGBT plus people, right? So I get it, but at the same time, it's like, it's just a whack thing to say. It's kind of like, look, I'm bi, y'all, so how can I be down? Like, you're basically assuming that if you come out as bi or giving examples coming out as bi or gay, that they won't come after you. When in actuality, we just seen the old girl from Netflix that walked out. Them tweets got brought up like a motherfucker real quick.
Yeah.
So it's like, even if you gay, if you say some shit that ain't cool, they gonna get you the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. The conversation to me, it even I initially, when I seen I listened to Joe Budden's podcast pretty regularly. When I seen because his podcast comes out on Wednesdays and then Saturdays, so I think that one was a Wednesday podcast. And when I seen the clip circulate, I clicked on it, and I was like, oh snap! But that's what it like. If you just watch that clip, that's the assumption that you would make. You would assume that he was coming out of the closet. But for me, knowing that you can't really cut up a podcast like that because they're talking for 2.5, 3 hours sometimes. So, and also I also have a podcast, so I know that if you just chopped up a clip of something that we said, it may not give you the full context of what was going on.
Keith would look like an Asian hater if you did that. If you just got all the clips of him saying things about Asians.
Yeah,
I hate rice. Be like, damn, this guy's racist. I'm telling you, anything out of context will make somebody look bad.
Yeah.
Like Asians and rice have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, exactly. But so when I first seen it, I seen it. I jumped on. I wasn't necessarily like full head on, like, oh man, this nigga Joe Budden is coming out of the closet. Like this is going to be a huge thing. I seen the clip, and then I think I had texted Eddie, and then I had immediately went to watch the video on YouTube, and then when I looked in the comments, somebody had already put the time signature of the statement. So I immediately, it was like 50-some minutes. So I jumped to it and I seen like the totality, and then I had went back a little bit just to get the full context. And then you see that he was actually just making a statement versus actually coming out. And then you could tell even in the conversation, he wasn't even aware of what that was going to do. Because it was a casual, it was like, hey, I'm bisexual, in essentially saying like, you know, if I am part of this LGBTQ community, like I won't get extorted. I won't have to worry about this cancel culture and stuff like that. And then it just moved on. They literally didn't mention it at all afterwards. And he probably wasn't even aware of it till he started seeing his name being mentioned, and he said people was calling him, consoling him, and all this different stuff. So his
baby mama said, no, it's not his baby mama. This is his ex.
Yeah,
his ex said, I don't think, he said, no, what's he say? He's not gay, but he's definitely a woman beater.
That's crazy.
That's heavy there.
That's tough.
But somebody else said, like, they said something like, I always felt he has some like gay tendencies or something. That's how you know, like, even if you break up with women or whatever, like when they come out and keep saying stuff about you, bro, like how much of it is you? Our breakup was so bad that you feel like you still need to mention me in any capacity. Right.
Like, don't even talk about it.
Yeah.
At least on Joe Budden's end, I don't hear him bringing up these different women.
No, so I'm sure that they got some shit that they weren't very great at themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
I just think overall, like I can't even blame society in this case, because it's literally what he said. But I think that what I can say about society or just the Twitter or the internet or whatever is they're just idiots. Like we have to understand that nothing is just the minute clip that it says. Like there's a song that when I think with Cameron and Jay-Z was beefing, or the whole Dipset and all that, when they was beefing, there's a song that they made, and it said, basically they cut up the audio and it said, I'm a biter, I'm not a writer. Like, and they just kept repeating that, I'm a biter, I'm not a writer. And they just cut up a song that Jay-Z has. And in the song, Jay-Z says, I'm not a biter, I'm a writer for myself and other. Right. If I say a big verse, I'm only bigging up my brother. But they cut that up to make it sound like Jay-Z said that he bites off of other artists and stuff like that. Right. So I say that to say, like, when it comes to these clips, without context, without knowing that some things can be manipulated for the sake of the internet, it can look a certain way. And I think that we'd be fools not to understand the capabilities of social media and Photoshop and all these different things. Like we should be skeptical of anything that comes out. You know what I mean? Whether it's an interview, or a statement, an audio clip, or whatever. Like, I think we should be more aware now that we should look at the full spectrum of things.
But the problem with us nowadays, we don't want context. We want to be. People like to be spoon-fed things. Like, that's the problem with politics too, is the fact that people see no wrong in what they're consuming. Mm-hmm. The only way you could remain, the only way you can have integrity in general is if you challenge the things that you even believe in or don't believe in, mm-hmm. and you actually do research on them to see how much validity there is in what people are trying to force feed you. Mm-hmm. Like, when you seen him say that, and you shouldn't just share a clip of somebody coming out. Like, would it hurt you to like go to YouTube? Would it hurt you to actually go listen to the content? If you feel strong enough to share a video of Joe Budden coming out as gay, then why wouldn't you go and actually research why he even came out if that was the case?
Or look at this full coming out story.
Right. It's just people like to share stuff. They want to be the first to report things. Like people act like news reporters. Like they want to be the first person to share it, even if it's inaccurate.
I think what happened in that case, just from seeing it and knowing that most people didn't listen to the full podcast, is that he gets like, I don't know, however many average people listen to the podcast. Mm-hmm. The first person that popped it on right at whatever, 8 a.m. or whatever, whenever the video dropped, they cut up that clip and then they went straight to Twitter. Mm-hmm. And then most of the people that retweeted it and whatnot, they don't listen to his podcast. They're probably not even fans of his
casuals.
podcast.
You go.
They just know that Joe Budden has a podcast.
Yep.
So when they seen that, they like, oh, and they retweet it. And it is just like an avalanche after that of people responding to just that clip, and not necessarily responding to everything that's going on.
Yeah.
One thing I will say too is that if he did come out, like, so what?
Right. It's not going to change anything.
Like, why is there any sort of like negative thing? Like, if that was really what happened, if he really said, yo, like, you know, I've been hiding or I've been in the closet for so long, like, how disrespectful is it that people are like, yo, his ratings is down. He just trying to like salvage his podcast and stuff like that.
I don't know. These are people that are just like, it's confirmation bias. Mm-hmm. They're just looking for something to confirm why they don't like Joe, and that's what they did. It's very simple. Mm-hmm. Not to mention freaking, I think the listeners, like the people who really do rock out with Joe, don't just believe anything. They'll be like, oh, I got to listen to this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but I got to listen. It's just like a Trucker's Mind podcast. Podcast starts going viral. They chop up a clip of me cracking a joke that like a racial joke, and they're like, man, he a racist. Everybody that listens to the podcast and be like, Eddie ain't racist. Mm-hmm. Are you serious? Like, this is just how they joke around. It's in a joke, but they'll literally go, and there are some people that will go back and scan through podcasts to try to find something offensive. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. Mm-hmm. The same people that go look for old tweets or whatever, because it's all confirmation bias. These are the same people that wanted to cancel Kevin Hart for an old joke he put on Twitter in 2011. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. I don't really give a shit. I think this is a people problem, not a Joe Budden problem. Mm-hmm. I think Joe Budden was just doing what he loves, speaking on his podcast, giving an example. Whether I agree with that example or not, that's not important. That's his platform. Do you know that we went to Joe's platform to judge Joe? Mm-hmm. Do you know that?
Yeah.
We went to his platform. So here's the thing. That's like turning on the Trucker's Mind podcast and confirm your bias that you don't like us and clip something up and turn it off. Like, you came to my house to judge me?
One thing, too, is all he did was make his podcast. That was just marketing for him.
Yeah. I wonder what his clicks look like.
He's not even worried about that, because if you know what you're saying and it got misinterpreted through the internet or whatever, he like, oh, this is just a little bump in the algorithm.
Yeah. And he's not trying to prove himself not gay either. He's just like, whatever.
Yeah, in the next podcast he came out and he didn't even say that. He didn't really say that I'm not gay. He's just like, well, y'all, like, if y'all are thinking that, y'all don't really know
Spread the word.
Me. Yeah.
Spread the word.
Exactly. So it's just like, when I seen that, I was like, yo, I almost wouldn't mind having one of those moments.
What if he just like lost his mind on the next episode? Like, for you motherfuckers trying to call me gay, I'm not gay. Rory and Maul is gay. Tired of them motherfucking Rory and Maul. You making my ratings go down. I had to come out as gay the last episode because you motherfuckers didn't want to listen to me. Be a little ad-lib pop up. Pump it up.
Yeah. Somebody said that. That gives a whole new meaning to pump it up.
pump from the back.
That's crazy.
Joe Budden is crazy, man.
But I think if I was Joe Budden in that situation and you're very secure with yourself, and then also it doesn't even matter if you're gay just because of it's 2021, who cares? You like, yo, this is cool.
Right.
Like, I get a little extra traffic to
right.
what I got going on.
I'm Tupac secure. I fucked up. I was going to say I'm Tupac secure.
Oh.
That's what I was going to say.
There you go.
But I ended up saying his name.
That's a good podcast title.
Yeah.
Tupac secure.
Tupac secure. Yo, Wax is fucking hilarious, yo. Wax said on the podcast, he said, "Oh my God, Wax!" They was going back and forth on Bullying the Beast. Shout out to Bullying the Beast podcast. But they was going back and forth, and he's like, "Oh my God, Wax, you are so insecure." He's like, "I'm not insecure. I'm out of cure."
Wax is an idiot.
What I love about Wax though is Wax never tries to act all intelligent.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "What the fuck is it? Like, I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing. Look, I don't know all that shit." And I respect that about Wax more than anything, because some people get on these microphones and they try to act like know-it-alls.
Smart.
Yeah, they try to act smart. They try to say certain stuff, and it'll be completely fucking wrong. By the way, I'm not trying to make it like I've never said anything inaccurate on here. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if I'm batting at a pretty, I'm batting over 300 right now.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That'll get you to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, that'll get me there. Yeah, a couple RBIs. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about the conversation we were having about Ruggs, and just I think about like our journey, right? And if you believe in some sort of divine entity or a higher power or something like that, I always thought, like, I'm 29 years old now, but I always thought that your success is given to you when you can handle it for the most part. So, you're saying when you were 21 years old, you were drunk driving and stuff like that. And there was a situation I had when I was maybe like 18, 19 years old, where me and a couple of my friends were driving to LA, and I didn't even know these people. I was just going up with my other friend, but we hopped in the car with these guys. They were drinking and smoking weed while we were going to LA. And I was super uncomfortable in the car ride. But also, you 18, 19 years old, you don't want to be the like uncool person that's like,
right.
Yeah, like, let me get out of the car. Obviously now at my current state, I wouldn't do that. But you just think about like the kind of stupidity that, you carry with you at that young age. But I just feel like sometimes, like, especially for me, I just feel extremely blessed that the time in which I'm reaching like the successes that I desired for so long in my life, I don't have a mushy brain no more. Like, I can clearly make decisions.
Yes.
I'm not out here just doing stupid. I'm not gonna be signing a 360 deal. I'm not gonna be signing a stupid contract to where people own my likeness and all this kind of stuff. Like, I'm clear-headed. I've seen all the people make the mistakes before me, and
it's funny too. What I love about being present. I would say in your 30s when you've taken the time to not only to better yourself, but like mentally, and the fog has completely cleared, and you can make very conscious decisions. What's hilarious is when people think they could get over on you. Mm-hmm. Like when they say little subtle things to try to lead you into making a bad decision, and you be like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not doing that." Mm-hmm. And then they're just like, and then they present this whole new thing to you because they try to get over on you. Mm-hmm. It's like, nah, motherfucker, you're not about to get over on me.
Yeah, man.
Maybe when I was 19 or 20, but at 36-year-old Eddie, bro, you better off just coming at me correct from day one. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, ain't nothing gonna happen here, buddy.
I mean, like I don't want to keep repeating it, but I'm just so blessed because I see, and there was an article that came out in Rolling Stone about Summer Walker's contract, and it was like some industry execs and lawyers and stuff that had looked over her contract and said she had one of the worst contracts that they had seen in a long time.
Oh,
like, just
God.
unfair splits, not owning her masters and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
And she signed that in like 2018. So that's not even that long ago.
So recent.
Yeah. So I just say that to say, like, man, like, I feel so fortunate to see all these different things and be able to just navigate through the nonsense.
Do you know the extent of it? Like how many projects does she have to make?
I don't know if it had a number. It might have been like 4 or 5, if I remember correctly. She said they said she was getting like 15 cents on every dollar earned.
Oh my
The issue the interesting part is the guy that runs the label's name is Justice. He's frequently on Joe Budden's podcast.
Wow.
Rory and Mal actually had a conversation with this guy about Summer Walker's album. Rory and Mal, like, I think they were talking like in some sort of capacity, like referencing, you know, how the album sounds and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then only to have
the same guy.
This article come out basically saying she's in this terrible deal. They said she got like $110,000 advance, which is like
nothing.
You know, not nothing. It's if you get that small advance, you're gonna want a bigger split of the pie, right? Mm-hmm. So you're saying like I'm not gonna take much on the front end, but if my royalties or my split is much bigger, then that'd be cool. Mm-hmm. But normally, like, you know, some guys getting like $1, $2, $3 million advances, but she got 110, and then she got a terrible split on the back end.
Oh my God!
So. And to think like, you know, her first album went platinum and stuff, so she definitely recouped that money, but it's
that back end is weak. You know what's funny too is you know how that dude's a piece of shit because they made sure that they fucked her at every angle. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the fucked up thing about the music business is it's very, very predatory. Mm-hmm. But it's like it's crazy how the person who creates the art benefits from it.
Over.
Not even just screwed over. Where in the world does it make sense that the artist benefits from it less than the label? The label's getting the chunk of something they've never created.
That's everywhere though, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was making hamburgers, making McDonald's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I was getting $9.50 an hour.
And I think like that's the reason why back then you had sex with your coworker because you just is. What happened?
I'm just playing.
No, we talked about that already.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably why, man. You know, unfortunately, when you don't get any type of no kind of compensation, then something has to happen.
Yeah.
How old was you there? Like 20?
When I was there? Like 20, 23, 22, 23.
Yeah, man.
Somewhere in there, yeah. Yeah.
That's a trip. Yeah, man, it sucks. It ain't right. It doesn't make any logical sense for someone to get more money than me that they didn't have anything to do with the creation of the content. Mm-hmm. That's hilarious. Mm-hmm. That is hilarious. But it's like, yo, that's kind of why, like, as far as podcasting is concerned, I'm so blessed that other people are making money. They're signing deals and we don't know where we have an idea. Like, Call Her Daddy got $60 million.
Yeah,
$60 million. I forgot her name. Forgot her name. Anyway, it's Sophia and then it's the other girl. Sophia is the one that got kicked off.
Yeah, you got Rory and Maul. They got what, 10?
Like 10 million.
10 million. I know. We don't know the numbers for like the Black Effect people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are kept under wraps, but there's people on the Black Effect that are not much like getting much more like listens and views than we are, mm-hmm. and they getting that advertisement money.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, it's right around the corner.
Some people do a bad. I'm not gonna say who, but some people do a bad job of doing ad reads on their podcast. Like, yo, check this out. Yo, get better help. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get better help, if you get this, you can do that.
Worst
you know what I'm saying? You already know.
It's $1 million worth of
Oh my God. Wallow is the fucking worst ad reader I've ever seen. Look, man, listen, man. Look, man. Listen,
I'm talking about if you can't make it to the fourth quarter, I'm talking about no stroke game. I'm talking about sucking sex. I'm talking about terrible in bed. I'm talking about get you some of these pills. I'm talking about. I be like, dog.
Roman swipes, man. It's called Roman swipes. Look, man. Listen. I did a lot of years in the penitentiary, but like now that I got out, I'm getting that punani. So I got to get to Roman swipes. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, man. Listen. You like, God damn.
I'm talking about even if you jacking off and you don't want to bust that fast. I'm talking about put the Roman swipes down there. Take care of yourself, and you can jack off a little bit longer. I'm talking about taking care of yourself. I'm talking about sensual. I'm talking about sexual.
I don't care what you're selling. I ain't buying it, bro. I don't care if you're selling water. I don't want it, man.
New Amsterdam vodka.
Oh my God, that's the worst one. I gotta flash forward to that. It's so terrible. A proud sponsor of this podcast. New Amsterdam vodka. Only distilled 15 times. filtered 30 times.
With that cool, crisp finish.
A lot of times when Tootie at the house, you make an Amsterdam mule.
Shout out to the new Amsterdam queen.
Yeah.
She be mixing it up with her girlfriends at the house.
And it's like he can't even remember. It's oh my God, it's the worst ad read.
I got a screen recording of one advertisement Wallow read, and oh my gosh. That mug is hilarious. He just couldn't say words. It was certain words that he just couldn't pronounce. And you know, sometimes when you mess up, you say he's reading something like, maybe the sentence is, he literally ran through the door. Mm-hmm. He was like, he literally ran through the door, and he just kept going. Like, he didn't stop and correct himself or nothing.
I think you sent that shit to me. Yeah, I was listening. I was fucking dying.
It's probably the funniest thing that I've seen in a minute.
Illiteracy will never stop being funny. That is always funny to me.
Wallow is a guy we picked on. No, he's not going to know where we at, one. And second, he going to screw up so many words in that book.
Yeah, you know, honestly, like, I'm sure they're getting paid for that shit for sure. But preferably, I'd rather have sponsors on here that I use.
Yeah.
Like, and because it makes it more real. Mm-hmm. Let's say there's a meal prep company, and I've eaten your meals and they're good. I say, hey, look, man, since before we even had them as a sponsor, I've been eating their meals since 2017.
Yeah.
You know, I reached out to them and they said, hey, we're good. Let's do it. We'd love to be a sponsor because they make great food.
Yeah.
And then I'll just do a regular ad read. I could even give real life accounts because it's very natural and very organic and it's very truthful instead of being like, I think Brilliant Idiots, they have like an ad. I think it's called My Blue. It's like a vape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Boost Mobile. I wouldn't want to do Boost because I used to work at a call center back in the day that was Boost Mobile, and the service is fucking horrible at Boost. And they're like, Boost Mobile, only for $50 a month, get this. Nigga, I would never want to promote Boost Mobile. Yeah. That's the worst fucking service ever, man.
I was telling you, too, like, how we did, like, the Shasta commercial and stuff like that. It would be dope if we just had, like, it's because they read them every single time. It kind of gets, every single time it gets mundane. But if we have, like, repeat thing, or maybe they give us ad dollars over the course of, like, 3 months or something. Yeah. Like, we put some of that budget towards shooting, like, a commercial. And then during the podcast, we could break to, like, the Shasta commercial. To, you know what I mean? So it just kind of switches it up, not being the same formula to where we just reading the little articles or whatever.
Yeah, but the funny thing about Shasta is it would be dumb for them to remotely invest in any podcast, like at all, because Shasta sells itself.
Yeah.
Like they don't need any help selling Shasta.
Yeah, I don't think they need any. They don't advertise or anything.
They don't advertise. They just show up to the party.
Yeah, but they also know that they're going to be a couple of shelves below the actual name brand stuff or on the other side of the name brand.
But they don't need any help, Keith. They have names like Dr. Thunder. They don't need us.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Dr. Thunder doing good out here, bro.
Yeah. I wonder how much that company is worth.
Bro, I'm billions.
M's.
I say billions. I say billions, dog.
Maybe, man.
You know how many people are diabetics right now because of Shasta?
Drinking them Shastas.
I'm surprised Shasta hasn't been on a commercial. Did you drink Shasta soda from 1990 to 2000? You might be eligible for legal compensation.
Did you lose a foot by drinking Dr. Thunder?
Are you on your deathbed from drinking Dr. Thunder? You may be eligible for legal compensation. Press 1 to get through our lawyers.
That's crazy.
That'll be nuts. They'll be like, did you take the COVID vaccine and drink a Shasta at the same time? You may be eligible. No, it'd be like, did you have a reaction? You may be eligible for legal compensation. And it's always that same. There's a lawyer. I forgot his name. It's a Mexican guy. I think it's something Pena. He picks up people's cases sometimes pro bono if they're like large profile cases.
Oh, he gonna eat on the end at the end.
Yeah, he know he gonna eat on the end of that.
Sometimes they be taking like 30-40%.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. They'd be like, oh, somebody was being racist? Give me a call. Is somebody being racist towards you for no reason? Call the law offices of David Pena.
Have you ever been called the N-word or nigger? Call me.
You actually say it on the commercial? Wow. Oh, man. Are you still being called nigger? Press 1.
That was crazy.
Yo, can you imagine that? If you press 1, it probably, you like, as soon as they answer the phone, you probably hear a loud-ass call center in the background with a bunch of other employees. You hear people in the back, oh, you got called the N-word too, sir? Okay, hold just one moment. Oh, bro. You know you can never prove that, though.
That somebody called you N-word?
You can't prove that.
Yeah, I guess it's just evidence-based. You know, you have different accounts of people.
Nobody really says that anymore. Nobody really says the N-word anymore, man. But
Desmond had a lawsuit.
Really? Where?
Yeah. When he was working at Cow Ranch.
Oh, wow. Well, people say it, but they say it in the comforts of their own home.
No, they called him that. This is what the lawsuit was about.
Wow.
It's on many different occasions. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they called it. It was like a long laundry list of like different racist stuff that they were doing, but casually though. Yeah, it was some. You'd have to ask him to tell you.
He told me some stuff though. He did tell me some things.
Yeah.
Man, I wouldn't make it there. And you know the thing about Desmond is what I love about him the most. He's not only my best friend, but just his energy and how he's with people. So I could imagine him like being this bubbly, cool person, and then people taking that for granted, and then calling him, you know.
Yeah. That happens a lot, especially like with certain people that don't really know boundaries.
Right,
I guess,
exactly.
You know?
There you go.
And like you said, they look at you as like the cool black guy, like you could crack jokes and stuff like that, and they just keep pushing the boundaries. Next thing you know, they're calling you the N-word.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah, bro. Well, there's that. Where we at, man?
146.
I think we should wrap it up.
Yes, let's do it.
Well, look here, folks. We appreciate you for taking the time to listen to us for all these years.
Yeah, man.
We're
shout out the person that did the Cash App thing.
Yeah. Let me check that out. The recent Cash App was sent from. It was sent from Gloria Garcia. Appreciate you.
Shout out to Gloria.
Shout out to Gloria Garcia.
Do you know this person?
No. I know her like through social media.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
shout out to Gloria.
Not like from personally, but regardless of what that relationship is, I appreciate her for taking the time to donate to the platform.
Hard-earned money, man.
Means a lot. Means a lot. Thanks a lot for anyone else who plans on donating to in the future or will. And we're not asking you to do it only if it's on your heart. If it is on your heart to donate to the platform, it genuinely helps us out. We don't have any production team. We do everything in-house ourselves. So it'd be a hell of a help. If you're driving down the road and you're listening to us and you're like, wow, I really want to help these black kids. I want to donate and I want to adopt Keith. Just go ahead and hit up the Cash App. It's ATMPOD, like ATM, but A as in Apple, T as in Tommy, M as in Mary, POD.
Especially if you like an Angelina Jolie type of person, you know, one of them ones that want to donate a little black kid, a little African boy. I'm right here for it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she does donate. Not donate. She does adopt.
Did I say donate?
No, I don't think you did. Yeah, I just think our brains are just starting to. It's almost about that time, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you do see me or Keith out there and you would like to adopt, please go ahead and go to ATM.
Number right here.
Yeah, the number across the screen. It'll be at the bottom of this video once we drop it on YouTube. The Cash App's always there.
It should be somewhere over here.
Yeah, it should be it'll be to my right. But yeah, there's that. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're out of here.
Peace.